Hello and welcome to the Decibel Boost podcast, the official music podcast for the website Surreal Resolution. I'm your host and professional Billy Mitchell impersonator, Robert, and with me I'm
professional anime salt stirrer, Alex,
and
your personal bad dope jump maker, Mac 2.0.
He actually joined us this time.
Only took 3 tries to get it right.
Third time's the charm. That is an expression that the kids say nowadays, right?
Oh, those darn kids. Your fancy lingo.
Yes. So
we're old.
Speak for yourself, man. I'm only 22.
Me too.
Anyway.
Or I am.
If you're listening to this, then you're probably doing so on the newly launched SurrealResolution.com, which actually launched this past Friday, and listen to the podcast there, and other podcasts as well as check out other written material. Heck, you can only find a couple articles, one written by me and one written by Alex.
Mm-hmm. Pluggy plug.
You know, free plugs. They call me Seamus the Plug. So yeah, things are looking up.
The wheels are in motion.
Well, it's all smooth sailing from here on out. Hopefully. Maybe.
Hopefully. Anyway, I suppose we should start off with the formalities. So, how have you gentlemen been?
It's been a rough week here in Charlotte for obvious reasons.
So I've
following
heard.
The news.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a rough week here.
Well, hopefully things get better eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
I really hope so.
Yeah, we need some good news this year, man. Too many people are dying. Too much shit's happening. We need something.
Well, I don't really have good news, but I do want to mention a little funny story. So remember last podcast when I mentioned that I was playing a show on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yes.
That shit didn't happen.
Oh.
What?
Because apparently one of the bands had to drop due to availability. Another band had to drop because they were touring from out of town and their van broke down in Orlando. Yep, van breakdowns. So, and I think another band ended up dropping, so it ended up being just us and only one other band. So, eventually, the organizer of the show just, called the thing off.
Oh my god.
Well, hot damn.
All that headache we went through last week could have been entirely avoided.
So, all the...
Yes, it could have, but look, dude, do I look like Negro Damas? I can't predict the future.
We know Paul Mooney, but so we're there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, instead of actually having the show, I just ended up practicing with the guys. And then we ended up, fucking off to, the nearby park to write some songs. Because, that's what emo bands do.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess screamo, rather. There were a bunch of cute, adorable cats in the park. They all ran away from me whenever I tried to pet them.
You scared them off, didn't you?
Oh, come on! I'm adorable!
Sure you are.
I'm like the Toki Wartooth of the real world. Come on.
But you are not as good as the guitars, Toki.
Well, I don't play the guitars.
No, you don't.
Instead, I play the drums.
Now know your role, Pickles.
Because that's what I do. If I could do the Pickles voice, I would, but I suck with impressions.
Yeah, don't we all?
Anyway, before we get into the podcast proper, once again, it's time for me to delve into some corrections, some information that I got wrong. Although, who knows, maybe in the future, these two will get information wrong. Hopefully.
I swear to God, Rob, do we have to get political in here and start fact-checking you every week?
Oh, come on. Do I look like Donald Trump? My hair is real.
Oh, damn.
Touché. But still, we owe it to the listeners to get the facts straight.
But, at least, unlike a certain, freaking tangerine-skinned human being, we can actually admit when we said something wrong.
Yeah. We're all gonna die,
aren't we? Better than nothing. Anyway, to the corrections. First off, Animals' Leader's last album, The Joy of Motion, was not released in 2013, rather coming out in March of 2014. So it's been 2 years since the last AAL album and not 3, although it still feels like it's been way longer than that. My apologies. Second, Apparently, Kendrick Lamar
does not
own or have any significant investment in Top Dog Entertainment beyond just being an artist signed to the label. I had mistakenly implied he was like an owner of some kind. I was wrong on that, though, wasn't I?
Yeah, you are. He's been signed there since 2015. Oh, no, 2005. Not that 2005. That's he was signed on.
All right, I'll have to put a pin in that. Who knows? Maybe Mark gets something wrong this time.
Actually, I think I did once.
But he corrected himself off the bat, so give him credit for that.
Anyway, the collaborator on the Danny Brown song Rolling Stone was not actually named Petite, but rather Petite Noir. Although I did correct that in the video portion of the podcast, but I still feel like I should say it here, just so it's on the record. And last but not least, the death metal icons Bolt Thrower actually formed in the late 80s, with their first album coming out in 1988. So, not beginning in the early 90s, like my mistake. I'm bad with dates, you see.
And for your punishment, you shall receive several lashings. Meet me after the show.
Hey, joke's on you. I actually like that kind of thing.
And nobody needed to know that.
I'm gonna drive home.
You're right now.
I'm gonna take a cold shower when we're done here.
Jokes. Anyway, so with the correction out of the way, actually, before we get into the music proper, I actually want to plug a couple of albums that I heard recently that I thought were really goddamn good. These will be personal recommendations for myself. Maybe this will be a weekly thing as well. First off, one of the new releases from last week, the newest Insomnium album, Winter's Gate, which is essentially just one long track, but, split into 7 parts. One of those kind of albums. I'm sure you've heard dozens of those, Alex.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And
it is some absolutely fan-goddamn-tastic melodic death metal. Might make it into my top 10 for the year. So, that's some good shit. Right. And second, this is one that the singer of my band actually recommended to me. It's a release by this emo violence. That's actually a term. Go ahead and look it up for yourself. This emo violence band called Weak Risks. Their self-titled debut, which is actually currently streaming via Heavy Blog is Heavy. I'll be sure to link that in the description. And, if you like your emo music with a little bit of, grind and metalcore-ish elements, then this is an album for you, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Anyway.
Okay.
Now,
writing it down.
With those recommendations out of the way, did you finish writing that down, Alex?
I finished writing it down.
Alright, cool. So, with the recommendations out of the way, let us get into the bevy of new music that dropped over the past week. And quite a lot of metal this week, more so. So, I tried to, lay it out so that it goes one metal, one non-metal, then one metal. Kind of create a rhythm, so to speak. Anyway, foremost, one of my favorite bands within the... Well, they don't really have a specific genre they belong to, but their own distinct style of, industrial blackened death metal. The band Anaal Nathrakh are releasing a new album on October 28th called The Whole of the Law. And they dropped one single from that album titled Hold Your Children Close and Pray for Oblivion.
Because you're all gonna die.
Spooky, scary, ooh.
Dude, it is scary. Have you ever actually listened to Anaal Nathrakh? That shit is so goddamn crazy. It almost reaches the same levels of, chaotic wall of noise shit as, old school strapping young lad material. Except with more black metal to it.
Yeah, and for me, I don't like my coffee black or my metal. I like it with some cream in it, some flavor.
Well... I like myself some industrial shit, so I thought, the actual song itself was really damn cool with, the black metal guitars I don't mind. You can hear, the drum machine, this kind of pounding, drum machine prominently within, the verses. The crazy, just screeched vocal and the more sort of cleanish, soaring kind of things. And it's just this crazy, huge... grandiose song. And that's kind of how I like my metal. Just as over the top as you can make it. So, this was a fantastic song, and I so can't wait to get my hands on the full album.
Alright then. Not my cup of tea, but, credit where it's due. The black metal guitarists are outstanding with their picking technique.
Indeed they are. Technique. Technique.
I can't do it. I don't get how they do it so fast.
Maybe they're chronic masturbators.
Maybe they gotta have something to do in Norway, right?
Well, I don't think these guys are
not
from
burning
Norway.
churches or any of that stuff.
Well, Anaal Nathrakh isn't from Norway, and I'm not going to assert where they're from on the off chance of getting it wrong.
Yeah.
So, on to the next track. Would you guys happen to remember that Comedy Central show, Moonbeam City? You know, the one that only lasted for one season?
Yeah, I sort of do.
Saw some commercials, never tuned in.
Well, I did,
Don't know why.
It was okay. It had absolutely gorgeous animation and visuals, courtesy of, the fine folks at Titmouse Inc., and heck, I think the animation director for the show, or at least the art director, also worked on Metalocalypse, so, that explains the quality.
Was it, oh god, what's the guy's name?
I don't think it was John Schnapp.
Can't think of it.
We'll look it up afterwards, and we'll probably annotate it in the video. But the biggest thing that stood out for me about that show, apart from the animation, was the rather great soundtrack composed by this LA synth-pop duo called Nightclub. And they're actually releasing their first full-length album. They've been mostly releasing EPs up to now, on October 7th, titled Requiem for Romance, and they dropped a new song titled Dear Enemy. And, it's about what you would expect. It's very synth-heavy. There's a dark kind of gothic street vibe to it. This is basically what I imagine pop music sounds like in the universe of, Blade Runner or The Terminator or something. You know what I mean? Kinda get what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I get what
That's
you're
basically
saying.
all I have to say on the song. I found it, catchy. I kind of like the dark vibe. And, I'm more than likely going to give the full album a listen. You guys have any thoughts?
It's groovin'. That's my thought on it. One word review. Groovin'.
Pretty okay. Yeah, like it. Pretty groovy, it says on myself.
Groovy. This is where we put an image of Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Anyway, swerving back into metal for a minute. One of my absolute favorite albums of last year, I believe I had it at number 4, was Ageless by this band called Call of the Void. And they are releasing a new EP this year. The release date is currently unknown, titled AYFKM. If there are any kids listening, you might want to mute this part out, so we don't get in trouble with your parents.
Mm-hmm.
That title is short for Are You Fucking Kidding Me?
AKA that one line everyone remembers Kristen Wiig saying in Bridesmaids.
I watched Bridesmaids.
Yeah. I heard it was okay.
Wait, did you watch Bridesmaids?
No, I just know that one line, okay?
Sure, Alex, sure. Anyway, they dropped a new track from that EP titled On and On. And On is typically very, fast-paced, in-your-face, very grindy. This one is more just a slow, just pummeling, stomping kind of tune. And it just proceeds that way. It's constantly, almost like it's constantly building and building and building to where it's going to explode into something faster, more in your face. Although, sadly, that doesn't happen. And I will admit that does kind of diminish the song a little bit, with just how, with how loud and how noisy and how steady it is, you expect it to explode into chaos, but it's almost kind of like getting a hand job from someone and them stopping, before the thing happened. And we all know what the thing is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what the thing is, do you?
Not really, no.
That guy that's behind you.
I don't know why I actually turned around just now. God damn it, Mark.
He's always
Look at the
watching
ghost.
you.
Don't be ridiculous. Ghosts aren't real.
Sure.
Space ghosts, but other ghosts aren't. But yeah, that's all I have to say on that song. Really good song. Can't wait to hear the EP.
Mm-hmm.
Up next...
Pretty rockin' groove metal.
Shit, yeah. Anyway, up next, we got a little bit of hip-hop, around, from producer La Orange and rapper Mr. Liff. The two are putting out a collaborative album titled The Life and Death of Scenery, which is actually getting a free release on October 7th, courtesy of the ever-so-generous folks at Adult Swim. Praise be to DeMarco.
Yeah! And it's all free.
Don't you just love when they're, generous with the free
Yeah.
music?
Absolutely.
And they always find, the best, shit to put out for free. It's always
Yeah.
really, cool shit.
Really?
Like with this
Yeah,
song, they released a second single titled A Palace in the Sky. And right off the bat, I absolutely love it because, well, lyrically, it's this very... It almost kind of reminds me of, like, Ghostface Killah in terms of how, like, descriptive it is with its lyrics and how almost kind of narrative it is. Like, it's a sort of, like, cautionary tale about karma. You know, it tells the tale of this king who rules over a kingdom and never has his own people's interest at heart, only his own. As such, he gets on someone's nerves, including his own men. And eventually, you know, they decide, you know what, we can't take it anymore, we're gonna fuck with this guy. And of course, karma comes back to bite the king in the ass.
Oh yeah, I mean, man, it took me a few listens to get into it, but I can dig this track. That's very like slow and I can easily get into this. But it took me like 2 to times actually to get into the song. It's a pretty alright song, and I'm gonna see what more from Mr. Leaf and the Orange. I say it like that.
Pronunciations. But I think what I like most about the track is the beat itself. It has this very fantasy kind of vibe to it with its, you know, swing pianos and these sort of gospel choirs, which makes sense because the song lyrically is is very much like fairy tale-esque in nature. And no, not that kind of fairy tale, you weebs.
Will it be tits? No, shut up.
Yeah, it's really damn good rap song, and I'm of course looking forward to the free download. Although, if you want something a little more high-end and premium, it is getting a more proper release from Metal Music Group the Friday after, so you might want to keep those 2 dates in mind. October 7th for the free download, October 14th for, you know, all the goodies and shit.
All there.
Anyway, up next, another one, this one more or less for me. A buddy of mine in the Facebook music group that I'm involved in, which used to be like, you know, a gathering place for this defunct music review website. He was recently persuading me to listen to this band called Dissonance. One of those very mathy kind of metalcore and deathcore bands, you know, kind of in the vein of like the Tony Danza tap dance extravaganza. And for those who don't know, yes, that is a real band name. And I was fairly impressed. You know, I do like that kind of, you know, heavy, kind of chaotic kind of metalcore. You know, at least it's not as redundant as something like Asking Alexandria. The guitarists know there's more frets on their guitars.
Oh, God, Asking Alexandria, why did you bring them up?
I'm sorry, some things I just can't let go of. But, getting back on topic, they're dropping a new album out November 18th titled Cast the First Stone. And they've premiered yet another single from that titled Suffering, The Art of Letting Go. I feel like that's supposed to be a quote from something, but I'm not completely sure. But, you know, if you love mathcore, especially the more metalcore-ish school of mathcore, then you basically know what to expect from this jam. You know, there's a lot of heavy walls of sound, a lot of off-kilter rhythms that you can never completely figure out. There's, you know, the guitars, which are shreddy, they chug, there's lots of, you know, screeching from the crazy harmonic patterns. It's just crazy, man. It's a crazy song all around. Given that I'm a crazy individual myself, of course it's very appealing to me. Any thoughts, Alex, if you happen to hear the song?
Well, obviously it's more appealing to you than it is to me. I'm never been a big fan of the deathcore subgenre. It's not something I really couldn't get into.
Not even the mathier stuff?
Not even the mathier stuff. Even I have my limits.
I bet you do.
I like investment, you know?
Fair enough. Although, yeah, for me, this shit's just like, I need to, you know, get it in my bones. But yeah, good jam, you know, but the album's like a couple months away, so we gotta wait. You know, now I think about it, it's also coming out the same date as a certain other album of the metal kind. We'll get to that soon enough, Alex. Up next, veering into some strange underground pop stuff. Do you guys listen to Speedy Ortiz at all?
Nope.
Not really.
Huh. I guess I'm the only one here. Anyway, we have a new single, not from the band itself, but rather from their front woman, Sadie Dupuis. I actually have no clue how you pronounce her name, and on the off chance you're listening to this, please correct my pronunciation. But yeah, she dropped a new single. She does so under the pseudonym Sad13. Get it? Because it looks like Sadie, but spelled with numbers.
Yeah, so original.
Ha!
Anyway, and the actual song title is Less Than Two. If you're wondering what that means, it's supposed to be like, you know, the emoji heart thing, except instead of 3, it's 2. Again, hilarious and original.
Okay, I have one question, though, about the video. Why is it parodying YouTube makeup artists?
Why not? I mean, what? Would you rather have video of her, like, performing just live at stage?
Yes, I would.
God damn it, Alex, you're such a square. Anyway, the music video does feature a multitude of scenarios that spoof YouTube makeup tutorials, among other things. But there's a part of me that kind of thinks, like, it almost, like, fits the tone of the song in a kind of strange way. The song itself, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a love song, but with a lot of very sarcastic language. Like, if you ever listen to a mainstream record, the lyrical content, they almost kind of sound like a band that exists in the universe of Scott Pilgrim. You know what I mean? Like, that kind you almost expect them to have a song, like, really titled, "We Hate You, Please Die." Just very sarcastic kind of lyrics. And, you know, that is the tone that comes across, especially with that title, because I guess she's not actually in, you know, less than 3 with this person, but rather less than 2. She actually says that in the song. And, you know, the actual production itself, it's about what you expect from, like, this weird, like, this is the kind of pop music you'd probably hear a lot on college radio. But, you know, for what it's worth, I thought it was an okay song. Any other thoughts, gentlemen?
No comment.
Mark?
I got nothing.
Aw, poor Mark.
Like, you're asking us to reach, okay?
Oh, okay, fine.
I don't even ask.
My apologies. I have to do all the work around here myself. Okay. Arg. Anyway, up next, this one's going more local. I believe I mentioned the other day that I'm friends with a bass player in a rather prominent local metalcore band called Acaedia. And for the record, he's not, like, asking me to plug or mention this. I just thought the song was really cool. They released a new single titled Risktaker. And, you know, if you're familiar with very, like, you know, technical metalcore outfits, you know, kind of, I would want to say a more melodic version of Born of Osiris, like the good Born of Osiris albums, basically, is what I'm thinking of when it comes to Acaedia.
Right.
And the actual song itself, you know, it has that quality. Guitars are very technical. There's also, you know, a handful of chugs and, you know, heavy double bass, and the chords are very melodic and pretty, and the lyrics are, of course, very inspirational as hell. Which, you know, for me is the one downside. I'm a bitter, cynical bastard. I need my metal lyrics to be nihilistic as fuck, goddammit.
Yeah, you and many, many others who are still pining for that strapping young lad reunion. They'll never happen.
Look, I'm not a fanboy, Alex. I've come back that will never happen. Some people.
Yeah, unlike some people.
But yeah, that's just a quick thing I thought was worth mentioning. If you're interested and you want to listen, there will be a playlist of songs for this week in the description. I forgot to mention that, by the way. You should probably, you know, check that out while you're listening to this.
Yeah, we got that suggestion a while ago, and we're going to implement that.
Yes, we are.
For your benefit, listeners.
So, Acaedia, Risktaker, don't know if it's off a new EP or something, or a possible full length, but I'll be sure to keep you posted on that. Anyway, up next, of course, new Adult Swim single that dropped last Wednesday. So if you're hearing this on Friday, it dropped 2 days ago. So yeah, this one comes to us from experimental pop artist Micachu, which is fronted by Michael Levy, who actually gained some recently, like within the past couple years, because she composed the musical score to the Scarlett Johansson film Under the Skin, which I didn't get a chance to watch.
Never saw it.
I still need to see that.
And I basically know nothing about it other than she's like an alien that has sex with dudes and then eats them. I don't know. But yeah, the song itself is called Clothes Wear Me, featuring some guy named Kevin. It's just Kevin. We don't know who this Kevin is. Trust me, I looked.
Who are you, Kevin? Identify yourself.
Is it the Kevin from Ed, Edd? Has he penetrated into our reality? Dorks. Yeah, the actual song itself is this very kind of experimental pop piece. It's very moody and low-key, very dissonant. The vocals are, you know, very mumbly, and they don't seem to follow any kind of coherency. In addition, the way the song progresses, like, the way it sort of fades into and builds up to the sort of middle part of the song, and then the way it fades out at the end, feels very cinematic. It almost feels like this is a soundtrack piece to some kind of a short film that, we don't know if it's getting made or not.
Yeah, yeah. Once I was something like this feels like something to get high off to, because from beginning to end, like it's very spacey and so it's sort of like spacey, and you feel you're in an acid trance, like you are really, really high off your ass.
Yeah, just this kind of zoned out state of mind, you know?
Yeah. I kind of had that feeling once I heard a couple of times. Kind of more of a happy yet confused feeling. Like, oh, this all feels so nice. And there's a purple dinosaur kicking shit out of a.
I love you.
Who is?
You love me.
No.
He said purple dinosaur. I had to. I'm sorry.
Wrong show, Robert.
I'm sorry. He laid the beat. I had to.
So yeah, I like this track a lot. Maybe it might be in my top 10 of singles tracks. Maybe once program ends, I'll probably put it like top 10 or something. I don't know. You gotta find out.
Stay tuned for that. Anyway, up next, we have a new single from one of my favorite sort of contemporary bands, the India-based ambient gent outfit. That's right, Indian ambient gent, Skyharbor. They dropped a new track titled Chemical Hands recently, and it's definitely way more ambient than any of their songs that they've released before. Like, there's kind of like, first off, there's barely any sort of low-end guitar. All the guitar work is very much like, you know, floaty and kind of atmospheric.
Yeah, listening to the song, it reminded me a little bit of Tesseract. Then I decided to do some research. I had no idea that's where Dan Tompkins went when he left Tesseract in 2010.
Well, now you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, nothing against it. I know I sound like being a little harsh because of the ambience, but it's very, beautiful and soothing, and that's a good thing for some progressive metal to be sometimes. Although there are, like, a few glimpses of, like, some more growled vocals, but it's only, like, 5 second chunks or so, it doesn't interrupt the vibe. And whenever they drop their new album, whenever that'll be, I wasn't able to find like news on a new album or release date yet. I'll be sure to get my hands on that, because Skyharbor have been, 2 for 2 so far, so hopefully they'll keep up that record, 3 for 3. Woo! Up next, something that Mark sort of brought to my attention. This is a music artist whose name I'm familiar with, and I'm aware that he's a huge deal, sort of a music legend, but I've never actually listened to much length beyond just this one song. The singer-songwriter Leonard Cohen has dropped the title track from his upcoming You Want It Darker. You want to talk about this one, Mark?
Yes, I like to. Yeah, like you, I know a little bit about Leonard Cohen, mainly because what chatted with him is mostly his dark, husky voice that when he does things, I'm like, wow, this guy, wow, this guy really has that sort of voice that, hell, I wish I had, or, well, I do have, but fucking not like that. Anyway, the song You Want It Darker, is well, okay, the song in general, it has this sort of this instrumental vocal delivery, and what I like it's like the sound of the choir through, like, in the middle of the song.
Yeah, to your point, it kind of has like this very kind of dark gospel-ish vibe, kind of like, almost kind of feels like going to a Sunday, like,
basically
8 a.m. mass.
Basically
on,
that,
like,
yeah, except this time I'm looking forward to going to church.
And actually the lyrics themselves are, there's a very religious bent to them, because Leonard Cohen himself, I believe, is of Jewish faith, and the lyrics allude to the concept, well, they very much allude to the concept of a God who isn't really there. So I'm guessing the narrator in question sort of acknowledges the idea of a God, but at the same time, it has to be a God that, quote, wants it darker because of all the terrible things that happens in the world. Heck, there's a verse that very much alludes to, the Holocaust, and, what kind of God would let the Holocaust happen? So obviously God must want it darker, am I right? It's a very well-written, a very literate song to sort of study lyrically speaking. I found it pretty good on that mark. Also, the as you said, the deep vocals, which kind of remind me a lot of like Michael Gira from Swans.
Yeah. That's
that kind of sounds like he's
I just got
gargling
thinking about
nails.
the track. Maybe I always thought that maybe deep voice singers kind of give me drawn into a song like that. Like it's with him and the other guy named Sam T. Heron, another guy that got a deeper voice that I can fuck with. Yeah,
I hear that, man. It's a very commanding kind of voice. You pretty much have to pay attention when you're listening to a voice like that.
pretty much.
Yeah, Leonard Cohen. Up next,
That just got incredibly nihilistic.
Yes,
right
it did.
there.
And anyway, we're about to move on to the last two songs of the week. Probably the biggest songs that dropped within the past 7 days or so. And of course, I'm going to let Alex, mark out on this one.
Okay, full disclosure, Metallica is a very special band to me. They hold a lot of sentimental value to me and my family, and I'll just leave all that personal info aside because y'all don't need to hear the whole story. But they dropped the second single off their new album, Hardwired, ... to Self-Destruct, called Moth into Flame. It's grooving, it's melodic, the sounds in production is excellent, much better than, the last two albums. I love it. I love it, because I'm a fan. Go ahead and hate me, Internet!
Metallica stan.
Again, sentimental value.
I don't know, man.
Wait, who?
Yeah, but even then, you got to be able to leave sentiment at the door and evaluate.
I
things
can
clearly,
evaluate things clearly. Trust me, I don't touch Lulu at all. Okay, leave that dead and bury it with Lou Reed's grave.
I've never heard that album, and I don't intend to start now. But yeah, I listened to the song as well, and look, I'm sorry, but I have the opinion that trying to get excited about a new Metallica album in the current millennium is like trying to get excited about a new Final Fantasy game in the current millennium. Sure, the trailers might be cool, the singles might be cool, but learn from the pattern. Use your hindsight. Low expectations now, you're gonna save yourself a lot of heartbreak in the long run. I mean, the song itself is pretty good, although I do kind of have to disagree on the production, if only for the reason that, the drums, specifically the cymbals, just sound really flat to me. They don't carry much punch or anything.
Well, we know the results from when it goes too loud. So let's not try that again.
No trash can snares for Lars anymore.
And none of that in the red decibels, like Death Magnetic.
But, yeah, the song itself is okay, but I'm surprised at the amount of people that are actually getting hyped for this new album, as if they don't learn from the past or anything. But that's just me. That's just me, being my cynical old self.
Yeah, you're a cynical fat bastard. We get it.
Yeah, you're old. Well,
I'm 22. We've been over this.
When you said it, you said you were old.
I never said shit. That was you.
Okay.
But yeah, new Metallica album, Hardwired to Self-Destruct, out November 18th. So I'm sure all you boys and girls that are already like, oh my god, this album's gonna be really good, are, gonna rush out there day one that shit.
It's still gonna be more hyped than Megadeth's new whatever they're doing.
Think about it, they already dropped a new album in January.
Yeah, and it was okay.
Same.
Better than their last one, but still just okay.
Pretty much. And anyway, for the last song of the week, probably the biggest one because it's from someone who, can actually place on the Billboard charts. Everyone's favorite palm tree-haired, although apparently not anymore, R&B singer, The Weeknd. I refuse to pronounce it The Weeknd. If he wanted me to pronounce it The Weeknd, he would have spelled it like that. But instead, he pronounced it stupid, so it's Weeknd.
Yeah, just like K $, and M.I.A.
Yeah. This guy dropped the title track from his newly announced album Starboy, due out on November 25th. And the track features production from everyone's pair of French robots, Daft Punk. Explains all those reports about, wait, what are Daft Punk doing with The Weeknd, that I remember hearing a month or two ago.
Well, now we know.
The song, yeah, I don't know, the beat is okay, but it's easily the most boring, beat and production I've ever heard out of any Daft Punk project. And the Weeknd's vocals just... I don't get how anyone can listen to this guy, because for me, his voice is like a dog whistle. It rings at exactly the right decibel level to just piss me off.
Well, we all can't be enjoying those super high-pitched screams like you, now can we?
Not to mention, there's something about, like, the way vocally, like, the vocal melody and the way he phrases, his lyrics and his singing in this song reminds me a disturbing amount of that song Cake by Rihanna.
Okay, now you're stepping over a line.
Hey, wrong! Go back and listen to that song. I guarantee
I'm not going to say you're right either.
I wouldn't say that.
So, do you guys have any thoughts on this? You're more positive on it than I am.
Yeah, I thought the track was kind of all right. I mean, it's more of an okay track. Okay track to me. Yeah, Daft Punk's production is sort of meh, but I heard more meh stuff from Daft Punk to be honest. After all, but I'm pretty sure like this might attract more general audience than what we usually listen to. It might be a good charter track. It's an alright track to be honest for me. And plus the Weeknd, I don't find like the Weeknd to me is okay to me. Also, I heard much worse R&B singers that people talk about, and the ones
Jeremiah.
We know many, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the track it's alright. The Daft Punk part does sound a little subdued and held back, but, that's what happens when you're on a featured role instead of a main role.
Fair enough, I guess. Yeah. But
y'all can't get lucky.
Hey, I like to get lucky.
I do too. I said, no. I said we all can't get lucky.
Oh.
God damn it.
That's what we all liked Pharrell for a couple of days before he did some stuff nobody liked.
Happy made me the exact opposite.
Yeah.
The Be Fair Blurred Lines was worse.
Blurred Lines is just an atrocity upon the human race.
But we don't have to speak about that, thankfully. But yeah, you're all going to have that new Weeknd album to look forward to on November 25th, so if you actually like this guy, first off, learn what good R&B singing is. But second off, good for you, I guess. And with that out of the way, and half of our listeners insulted...
That's just a regular week.
True. And with all that out of the way, now we can move on to the regular old news topics. First off, just to start off fun, we're all fans of the Eric Andre show, I assume. We all like to ranch it up every Friday night.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and as always, there was the musical guest, because that's always, like, for me, the best part of any Eric Andre. Everything else is great, but, like, the musical guests are always just, like, the best damn thing. And last week's guest was bass player extraordinaire, Thundercat, in weird and getup for some reason. I guess he's going on a tribe hunt soon with his boys.
But he brought his six-string with him, and that's a bass, by the way.
He was in a bass-off. Who was he competing with?
He killed it.
Oh, yeah.
Who was he competing with, you may ask? Why, none other than robotic Hannibal Buress.
And it was a landslide victory.
Well, no shit.
Until Hannibal's dad interrupted.
Oh.
Without his pants.
Not to mention old, wrinkly, and white. Just, ew.
That was Hannibal's dad? I thought that was Tyler the Creator's dad.
No, Tyler the Creator's dad was like a freaking... He looked like Sloth from the Goonies.
Oh.
But no, this was just a regular old dude. He told him to settle their differences, and then they all, hugged it out. Although, just for the record, Thundercat totally owned Robot Hannibal. Yeah. It's almost like he didn't even try.
I know. It's like he was barely moving.
I mean, come on. Like, haven't you ever been to Chuck E. Cheese, Robot Hannibal? Those know how to play music. You have no...
Shit.
Learn from them robotic robot birds.
See, Mark gets it. Anyway.
That and also Thundercat is awesome as fuck. I
Yes,
know,
he
it
is.
was in the Moses albums.
Yeah.
Anyway, next up on news of somewhat more significance, because apparently everyone has to have their own streaming service nowadays, the iHeart company has announced they're reportedly launching a streaming service of their own. You know, iHeart being one of those online radio things like Pandora. You know, that thing you sort of use sometimes, vaguely.
That still exists for some reason.
I don't have the resources on hand to accurately go into a giant tangent, but one week I'm going to go on this giant rant about how iHeartMedia and Cumulus fucking suck!
I wouldn't know. I don't bother with, like, okay, I have iTunes for my actual music library of shit that I buy, and then Spotify for shit that I stream. That's it.
Here's the thing. iHeart and Cumulus are radio companies, and they're not very good.
Well, I mean, what the hell kind of an... Like, if you have a name like iHeart, can you really, compare to any kind of quality standard to begin with? In all honesty. Your naming standards are shit, so your actual streaming quality and, you know, the way you do business can't be all that good either.
Yeah, and unfortunately, here in Charlotte, all the main radio stations are controlled by iHeartMedia and CBS Radio. And they play nothing good.
Wow,
It's the radio.
you have to deal with the monopoly
I don't
up
bother with
there.
that shit.
That's just terrible.
Yeah. The only good station I can get here is this active rock station from Greenville, South Carolina, 50 miles away. The reception's terrible, but they actually have good music variety.
Well, see, this is why I don't bother with, like, mainstream. But whenever I'm listening to the radio in my car, it's always just the college radio station for the university I go to, and that's about it.
And that's why I have a tape deck in my car so I can plug it into my phone.
Wait, you can do that?
Yeah, I have a little tape adapter.
You know what? I shouldn't be surprised. You know where to find all that weird technological bull crap.
Yeah, Best Buy.
You know, because Radio Shack's out of business.
Kind of.
Circuit City.
But
Well,
yeah,
they're not a business,
iHeart's
too.
just
Shack.
why. We don't need any more streaming services.
One-
And does anyone
one
use
day.
iHeart Radio anyway, in all honesty?
No.
No, not really.
Exactly. So, and of that sort, on to the next one. Man, AC/DC has been going through a lot of member changes and retirements recently.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Their singer had to, I guess, retire because he was going to go deaf. Their drummer got caught with some very, very criminal charges. And now, their bass player is retiring.
Yeah. AC/DC bassist Cliff Williams has announced that he is in fact retired the band, and they even dedicated, like, his last show to his own honor, you know, before he went off and left for good.
Yeah. This band cannot have any more Band-Aids on it. Axl Rose is bad enough. It's time to call it a day.
Wait, Axl Rose counts as a Band-Aid?
Technically, yes.
Well, okay, if it's a Band-Aid covered in cyanide, maybe I see your point.
Yeah, tomato, tomato.
But, yeah, Cliff Williams, sir, you have done some great work for the band over the years, even though you've probably just been playing the same bass line over and over for about who knows how many years, just like your drummer has been playing the same beat for who knows how many years. But AC/DC, you were always a good band, and for those about to go tournament, we salute you.
Hear, hear.
You see what I did there? Like, that one album they did?
Yo.
Yeah. We get it.
Well, you know, someone out there listening might not. Like, what's an AC/DC? You mean like that, you know, weird guy from JoJo?
Oh, it's that old band your dad listens to.
Yeah.
Dad jokes.
Literally.
Yeah. Fluff would be proud.
Yep. Speaking of fluff, and speaking of metal, are you all familiar with the group Steel Panther by any chance?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Steel Panther. Gotta love them. They're crazy, you know, they're fucking funny as hell, they play some great glam rock, and of course, they're masters of engaging an audience, as Glenn Fricker would have you believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was recently announced that they are probably more than likely going to be working on a comedy series. They're working with a Canadian, you know, television production company to produce essentially sort of a mockumentary series, like in the vein of, think Spinal Tap or like The Office or something, where, it follows a fictionalized version of the band's, life. Like, I guess what they're doing, not just on stage, but behind the scenes and in their daily lives as well. And I, for one, can't wait to watch it when it happens.
I just hope some network is smart enough to pick this up, because this is something the world needs right now.
Adult Swim, you guys could,
Yeah. Hint, 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 hint.
Because what are they supposed to do? Just put it on the internet? Like, what? On the same video channel as, like, Ninja Sex Party? Ooh, they should totally Sex Party guest star.
I'm not sure if you're serious on that or not.
Dude, they've toured with Ninja Sex Party before, I'm pretty sure. Or at the very least, they've, like, hung out together.
I think the universe, at least on the internet, would implode if something like that would happen.
It couldn't handle that much raw sex appeal. Not to mention death.
No.
Peter Bryan.
No. Yeah.
But, yeah, moving on to the next thing. More news involving, apps and streaming services and stuff. Spotify are collaborating with the popular dating app Tinder. The one that you maybe used that one time, posted a bunch of dick pics, and never visited again. To add music functionality to the app. Specifically, what they want to do is they're going to incorporate, music. So, like, if you form a Tinder profile, you can link your favorite song, and if you have a Spotify account, it can show off some of the other shit that you listen to, which I'm sure is going to be very helpful in deciding mates if you actually think, oh, hey, a dating app, that seems like a good idea. They can't go wrong in any way.
I only have one question about this. How long is it going to take for Starbucks functionality to pump into this? It's the ultimate white girl trifecta. Spotify, Tinder, and pumpkin spice lattes.
Oh, damn. I kind of find this whole thing funny. And funny because I can imagine somebody saying, oh, this girl look kind of cute. Okay, all right. And then look at the song, and then it plays Panda.
I am swiping left on that so hard.
Oh.
Like, just the second, Panda, left swipe. And, though to be fair, everybody's gonna be doing that on me as well. Like, what's the Carnival Cops? God, why is it so angry? Left swipe. Although, it'll be perfect retribution. Like, maybe I come across, she's really gorgeous. She seems into a lot of cool shit. Oh, you think The Money Store is the best Death Grips album? Yeah, pass.
Oh.
See, with this album, you can find your love or get rejected harshly.
It's mostly harsh rejections and one-off hookups.
But at least you'll always have music.
Booty, 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 rockin' everywhere. Yeah. This is why I don't do online dating. Instead, I just stay alone all the time, and that's worked out great for me so far.
I just flirt with random motherfuckers. I just do that shit. But in a good way, not that creepy shit. I don't do that shit. You shouldn't do that either.
You don't do this shit. Anyway, up next, Atlanta, the city of Atlanta, recently commissioned a tunnel boring device so they could have a place to store, excess water on the off chance of, something going wrong with the town water supply. And they held a citywide vote to decide on what the honorary name of the machine will be. And I believe this was also internet focused as well. And we all know what happens when you let the internet vote to name shit.
Remember Bodie McBoatface?
Who the fuck is that?
Or Harambe McArambe Face.
Y'all motherfuckers.
Or many other internet-centric names. I lost my train of thought there.
And speaking of internet-centric names, this, of course, got the hold of the internet, as well as the music crowd, and I'm guessing just people who really love Atlanta music acts. And at the end of the day, the name suggestion that caught on the most and had the most votes was Driller Mike.
For once, a name that isn't stupid!
Well, I mean, it's a dumb pun, so it's a little stupid, but at least there's some creativity there,
Yeah.
And yeah, the funny thing, Killer Mike, when he was asked, like, what he thought about the drill, he thought it was freaking hilarious. And, you know, I would too, because, come on, that you gotta love silly puns every once in a while, even if your sense of humor is more sophisticated.
It is kind of funny once. It's kind of funny once you hear about it. That's how Drill Mike. Drill Mike can do good. I mean, can bore tunnels good as Killer Mike can do bars.
It's got the same ferocious drilling power.
Mm-hmm. Good on you, Atlanta. You're a good city, and you have an even better TV show.
Yes, you do, and I can vouch for that.
Atlanta, Tuesdays at 10 on FX. Plug.
I haven't caught the last couple episodes, though. I need to catch up.
Yeah, that's good.
And anyway, moving on from silly news that makes you laugh to frustrating, stupid news that makes you just have a fucking headache. And this will, of course, be our last news story for this week. Does anyone remember a man by the name of Tim Lambesis? You know...
Why, yes. I talked about him just the other week.
Frontman of As I Lay Dying. You know, really popular and ultimately one of the better bands in the metalcore scene. You know, sentenced to prison because he tried to hire an assassin to murder his wife.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know you don't know about this, Mark, because you don't listen to a lot about it, but yeah, this happened. And he only got caught because the quote-unquote hitman that he was hiring was actually just a police officer in disguise. And he's been serving out his prison sentence, you know, although it recently surfaced, the following story, that he attempted to file a legal complaint due to medical negligence on the part of, you know, the prison medical staff. Apparently, the steroids that he was taking, he claims steroids was what led him to, you know, try to take out the hit. See how that held up in court. Wink, wink.
Oh, yeah. Roid Rage. How original.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was attempting to sue for medical negligence because he requested a particular drug to sort of alleviate the side effects of that, you know, steroid shit, but he never got it, and as a result, he apparently developed male boobs.
In other words, tickle bitties.
Okay, does anyone else remember that one episode of American Dad where Steve is injected with steroids and he grows giant breasts and Stan does the same thing?
I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I do.
That's the first thing that came to my mind when I read this story. That one episode of American Dad.
Life imitates art.
Yeah.
Such a strange ass turn.
But hey, I'm sure they're gonna do him a lot of good in prison. Wink, wink.
He's got to be someone's bitch.
My bitch. My hope. Get in the bed now.
We're terrible people, but not as terrible as Tim.
My name is Bubba. You're mine now.
My name's Tammy. No, your name is Tammy now. Get in the fucking floor.
But yeah, this is... I still find it hard to believe this actually isn't like a Hard Times article because, oh my god. Okay, dude, you're on the losing end at this point. Like, you're the metal equivalent of Chris Brown. You do not get to play the sympathetic bad guy card. You tried to hire someone to murder your wife, all while proclaiming to be, quote, a man of faith, although apparently you said you were lying about that just to sell records.
Oh, it wasn't the first time, won't be the last.
Well,
and now you're trying to be all, you know, screw the medical staff because I needed the prescription to, you know, I them to help me unfuck myself because of the fucking that I gave myself, you know? Just fuck you, man. Just fuck you.
Half I do it, 10 years in prison.
Good to end on some comedy.
Well, it's only funny when it happens to other people. You know, that aren't us.
Of course.
Yeah.
Human suffering is appealing to us. But yeah, that covers all the news for this week. And as always, we like to wrap up by giving you a brief summation of the new releases for the week of September 30th. And first off, this album technically is dropping on Wednesday, so 28th. Japanese artist Utada Hikaru who you gamers and weebs out there might know for her contributions to Kingdom Hearts and Evangelion 3.0. She's releasing her newest album titled Fantôme, which I believe is a French term, and excuse me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. So, you just got something to look forward to.
But why is it only coming out in Japan?
Hey man, imports,
That costs money that I don't have.
Oh, but you find an excuse to buy
friggin' Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear XRD.
Okay, first, that was when I had a job. Second, BlazBlue was a rental. And third, shut up!
Never, Alex. Ha 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 ha!
Look behind you.
I'm not falling for that one.
Spirits!
Anyway. I don't believe in spirits. Spirits aren't real. And now for the releases that are actually coming out Friday. First up, the newest Jenny of All album, Blood Bitch. Up next, the newest album from synthwave artist Survive, who I believe I mentioned are the people, two of their members composed the soundtrack for Stranger Things, so if you like Stranger Things music, you're probably going to want to look up their new album, RR7349. Get it? It's all computer sounding and shit. Album from synthwave producer Ghost, titled Non Paradisi. In non-synthwave electronic, new album from
Machine Drum,
titled Human Energy. Ooh. Moving on to hip-hop, we of course have the new Danny Bren album, Atrocity Exhibition. Oh shit, what?
Get the hype rolling.
Yeah! And the newest album from Adult Swim alumni MC Chris, titled MC Chris is Dreaming. So if you want your candy and your bubblegum taffy, stop with your sweetheart Sandy. You see what I did there?
Yes.
See?
Yeah, we see.
Hey, you guys. Anyway, and now moving on to the last three releases of note. All metal releases. There's the newest Opeth album, Sorceress.
Nice!
The newest Suicidal Tendencies release, World Gone Mad, which will be their first album with former Slayer drummer Dave Lombardo. So, there's that to look forward to. And finally, this is a band that all my friends have been, hyping the shit out of, and I tried listening to a couple songs, but I feel obligated to mention it here. The newest release, Rhea, from the hardcore punk / black metal outfit, Oathbreaker. So, if that combination of genres is your thing, then you're obviously going to have that to look forward to.
So, with all that said, that'll do it for this week's episode of the Decibel Boost podcast.
So, time to clean house and get the fuck out of here. So, Alex, where can they find you on the internet?
I am Aura of Azure on Twitter, and I guess on Instagram if you're on there as well.
Alright, fair enough. So, Mark, what about you?
As always, you can find me on Twitter at Mac2HybridMedia, and also on my own site, The Mind of the Hybrid One, at thehybridone.wordpress.com, where I talk about anime, music, TV, all that good shit. I write my own shit, by the way. I do everything. And
he does everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Jack of all trades, this guy.
Damn right, yeah.
Damn right. That's why we like him. And as for me, you can find me on Twitter at RobBarracuda. You can also find me on AskFem and Instagram at RobBarracuda. And of course, that's where you can find me on YouTube, which is where you can, of course, always be first notified as to when new episodes of the Decibel Boost podcast go up. Just remember to click that there subscribe button to do so. In addition, you will also be able to find episodes of the podcast on the website Surreal Resolution. That is www.surrealresolution.com, as well as its subdomain on the website, decibelboost.surrealresolution.com. So go to those sites, have that shit bookmarked, so you can, always come back to it every Friday to listen to us talk about more music. As well as find all, the latest articles from the staff, the other podcasts as well. In addition, we also have a Discord chat. So if you actually want to interact with the guys from the site, I'm going to include a link to that in the description down below. So you can, hop in, voice chat, text chat. We got, channels for everything from music to anime to movies to even a dedicated channel for shitposting the dankest memes.
Y'all specialty.
Yep, just like all the kids like it.
Well, it's mine at least. Alex's, well, okay, if it's memes that involve progressive metal, he will gladly shitpost that shit all day. But other than that, he's not much of a memer.
Yeah, I like my memes sophisticated and elegant and Genty.
And as always, producer Mr. E for graciously letting me use his music for the podcast. Links to his shit down in the description below. And that'll do it for this week's edition of the Decibel Boost podcast. So until then, peace out.
Catch you later, bitches!
And I'm out. It's the door.